And yeah, awesome. I'm just going to double check on my end, make sure we're good and we're streaming. But yeah, the VA stuff is going to be helpful. I'm curious about hiring maybe my sister to help with like editing videos and things because it just
Oh,
takes so much time.
the editing is what takes time.
Oh man, yeah, it takes a lot of time. Um,
And, and that's what's challenging for me. Like I'll go, like yesterday, I saw some new land, new community, and it's just raw footage. And so I didn't have time to upload it. I'm multitasking like a mother, and I want to be able to say like, oh my gosh, this new community, this looks amazing. It was just this hidden gem. Uh,
yeah,
Not good advertising, could barely find it. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. And right now, we've switched to like a buyer's market. So
yeah,
there's so many ideas and so much of that out there.
it
And I
takes
can't
time.
film and edit and get it out there fast enough. So
It's yeah, no, I was meeting with another realtor this week and she's like she does those types of videos. Um is your Facebook, can you check and see if your Facebook is streaming?
I met with an agent last year because she's um, got enough residual. She's
Yeah.
able to hire someone to do the editing.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Oh, I am live.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I, for some reason, am not able to connect to mine, but that's okay. As long as yours is on Facebook, I think we'll be good. Okay. Awesome. Well, I think we are about ready to get started. Welcome back to the Real Estate Roast. I'm Ashli, your mortgage loan officer, and my job is to cut through all the noise and guide you through the home buying process with absolute clarity and confidence. We truly believe that home ownership should feel empowering, not overwhelming. It is my pleasure to have my dear friend and one of my favorite realtors here with me today, Jen. Thank you for joining me. Can you take a moment to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do, and lastly, tell us an interesting fact about you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Jennifer Thornton with Luxury Homes International. You can call me Jen or Jennifer. Just please don't call me Jenny. Um, I am so happy to be here. Real estate is my passion. I have always loved real estate for years. And it was only a few years ago that I really, really contemplated the dive to becoming a realtor. And when my husband and I built our house here in 2022 and closed in 2023, we said, okay, we're doing this, I'm doing this. And it was one of my dear friends and mentors that said, 100%, like you would be really great at this. And I think one of the reasons that I love real estate is because of the wealth generating possibilities that it brings.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I bring to clients is listening to them first. And so that's how you and I got started on this podcast topic was
Yep.
listening. Um, I've had experiences with realtors that have been phenomenal, and then I've had experiences that have been not so great. So the listening part aspect is something that I bring. Fun fact about me. I would say I have two sides to me.
Okay.
Super professional Jen, super professional, and then super goofy, funny, silly. Um, yeah. And those that know me really well know that I'm super funny, silly, goofy, likes to laugh a lot, all those things. But I usually portray the very professional Jen when I'm in the real estate mode.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I've seen that goofy side of you yet. So,
No, I'm usually extremely professional. One of the things that drew me to my current brokerage was that, we all say like expect everything. And I love that. Like, whether you're on the buy or sell side, like you do expect everything. This is people's largest asset. People usually come into real estate with a lot of trepidation. They're nervous, they're scared, they don't even know the questions to ask. And that's where us as the professionals, we step in and we try to dig a little bit deeper, gain that trust, and try to try to see what are the actual, fears, concerns, questions behind what they're actually saying so that we can help them through that process.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you mentioned, I think without maybe saying, but the uncertainty, and that's kind of what we want to dig into today.
Yeah.
For potential buyers, the entire process just feels incredibly overwhelming. It can be daunting. In fact, they even hesitate to ask the most basic questions because they can just freeze up entirely. Have you seen that fear of asking questions manifest in any specific ways with your clients?
Yes, 100%. And it really comes out in different ways depending on their personality.
Okay.
Um, some people, the more quiet personalities, more quiet, introverted, non-confrontational, they will just kind of nod, like, yep,
Mm,
totally get what you're saying. And then behind that, nope, no clue. And the more friendly or not so much friendly, that's not the right word, more extroverted, or maybe the not afraid to fail types, or not afraid to process externally types,
yeah.
will say, hey, Jen, I have no idea what you just said. Can you explain that again? They'll just come out and say it. Whereas
Yes.
the other personality types, I'll have to like read into that blank stare and say, did that make sense? Or do I need to like rephrase that in a different way?
Yeah.
Um, Try to say that in a different way. I find that the way that we communicate is so important, because it's not about someone being smart or not being smart. It's just that real estate is our area. And
Yeah.
so if what I just said or what you just said on the lending side just went straight over their head, we just need to find a different way to explain it and make sure there's 100% clarity and certainty, not uncertainty.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think it speaks volumes when we talk about the emotional investment that buyers make. For me, on the mortgage side, sorry, my kiddos are banging on the door.
That's fine. We all
Um,
have kids. It's summer.
I was like, oh man, today they're home, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Um, so one of the biggest fears I constantly hear is, am I ready to buy? What if I mess up this financially? That's something that self-doubt stops so many in their tracks. Can you recall any moments with a client where your patient, Penelope, you need to go, please. I'm on the call. Can you recall another moment with a client where your patience and care had such a profound impact that it visibly shifted their mindset from fear to excitement, maybe?
Yes, 100%. So I just went through this with someone, and they came to me and they said, Jen, what do we do? We don't know if we should um, buy or sell, and we don't know if we should rent the house out or if we should sell it. Like, what should we do? And so I first of all thanked them for giving me the opportunity to come into their world, because that's a very, I hate to use the word intimate because that feels weird in a real estate
Yeah,
conversation, but it is a very hard thing to open up to another professional and say, hey, this is where I'm at and I need your expertise. I need help making this decision. And I don't even know if this is going to benefit you or not. Will you help me? And I was 100%, I will help. Let's go down both paths. Let's look at the keeping it and renting it out path. And let's look at this year and let's look at the next 5 years. Let's look at all those different scenarios. Let's look at, can you do it? How does that impact you in all these different areas? Let's look at, how does that impact you? And I had a lender help me go and help them do all those different things. And let's look at buying and selling and how that impacts you in all those different areas and aspects, and laid out the information for them and let them make a good decision. And ultimately, when they decided that, this was the best route for them, you know 2.5 months later, I said, how do you feel? And they were like, we feel so much peace, we feel so good. And that was such a good feeling for me, because ultimately, it's not my decision, it's the client's decision, it's the person's decision. And we're here to help them make the best decision for them. And that's all we can do.
yeah, absolutely.
And that's
I
what we
think
should do. And I mean, that's
yes.
the best. Yeah.
No, I love that you said that you take time to walk through every little step, and make sure that they feel comfortable. Um, my first step is always to listen, and like what you were saying, and truly listening. I think what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to grab her real quick and have her jump on with us. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
So she stops screaming. Okay, listen. I'm on a call. Look, we have Princess Penelope joining us today.
Hi.
Can say hello.
That looks like Cinderella, maybe.
Yeah, we've got a Cinderella dress on. So pretty.
I see your swirly sparkles.
Can you say hi?
Where's your wand?
Do you have a wand or some pretty shoes?
You
Yeah.
need accessories.
And
You
go
have
get the purse?
accessories? You gonna go get accessories for your outfit?
No. Okay.
No? Okay.
Uh, yeah, so listening is definitely something that we've talked about a lot in our conversations. And asking questions like, what does home truly mean to you right now? And you had talked about that just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Maybe it is renting for a little bit. And then checking back in with them. That I think that it's so interesting because this whole process is the long game for some people. It's not right now. It's maybe a few months down the road. And making sure that you are understanding what exactly they need in the moment, not just what they want.
Yeah. There was this one client that I helped them find something that, they didn't think that they wanted.
Yeah.
And I kind of really urged and kind of nudged and pulled just a smidge for them to look at something that they really said at the beginning that they didn't want to. But they were a bit all over the place in what they said they wanted in terms of like the style of home. And so I kind of pushed just a bit to kind of narrow down, okay, you're saying you want this,
Yeah.
but the math ain't mathin'. Like what you want is not in line with the market right now. So I encourage them to just look at something that was what they're saying, but
Yeah.
it wasn't available. So when they showed them that, they actually started to consider something different. And then they ultimately decided that they didn't want to go there because it didn't have like the privacy in the yard they wanted.
Mm.
And then that ultimately, the next house was like it was the one,
Oh, good.
because that shifted their perspective. Like, okay, this is what home prices truly are. This is what the market is. So the house that they wanted, they were able to like open up their minds and finally see it once they realized like, okay, now I see the full picture. So a lot of times that was not only me listening to them to realize this is what it's going to take, and then them listening back to me saying, I am telling you, this is the market. We have now seen everything. So
Yeah.
listening goes both ways, I think, which is
No,
probably
that's,
the same on your side. Like
yeah.
you're saying, if you only want to spend this per month,
Hmm.
I'm telling you, this is what it will take to be in that range.
Yeah, absolutely. I had somebody recently that I was going through an application with, and they were wanting a certain amount of house, and what they were making and what the amount of house that they wanted was not working. But it's interesting because they can get to that place though. And it's just running the numbers on my side and being like, hey, we can put a plan together and we can help you get to the place that you want to be. It just might not be right now. Maybe it's six months down the road after you're making a little bit more and your debt to income ratio comes down a little bit. And that's important. Like you said, on both sides for them to listen to us as well. And because we do have more knowledge in the area of what's going on in the market than they do for the most part. There might be some people out there that are kind of gurus in that space, that might just be monitoring the market like crazy. But it's interesting. I've noticed that even those people that are those gurus in that area and are keeping an eye on where the market is and the numbers, when you actually fill out an application and you put your specific numbers in and we run your credit, what that actually looks like in real life might be a little bit different than what the average is out there. So it's important, I think, for like, I wouldn't like, we don't necessarily, we go to doctors for a reason because they have information that we don't have, and vice versa. So
Mhm.
um let me see what other questions we have on here. um so with your clients, do you have a lot of clients that come to you and ask you a lot of questions of like, what if the market crashes? What if I lose my job? How do I address those different things when somebody comes to me that's asking those questions?
I have one. He's not a client yet. He's someone that I've been talking to since last July.
Okay.
This one is a tough cookie to crack.
Hmm.
This guy, he's really tough. And I have been having lots of conversations with him. Um, he is, it reminds me of the Polar Express when the guy's like, "You're a doubter. You don't believe." Uh, this guy is, he's interesting. He's one of those that I think COVID and the climate of the real
Mm,
estate world post COVID has really shook him.
yeah.
Like it has a lot of people. He's still in the like, I can't believe we're here. And he
Mhm.
doesn't quite know how to respond
Yeah.
to the world we are in now. And he has a desire to purchase property and it talks a lot, but doesn't quite want to pull the trigger to meet with a lender
Mm,
or meet in person to get
okay.
the ball rolling. Because whenever I move to that next step, he doesn't quite move with me.
Okay.
He has lots of opinions and lots of expertise,
Yeah, right.
but doesn't want to move to that next step. So I find that those types are tricky,
Yeah.
and the ones that are actual serious buyers and sellers,
Mm,
they don't have those thoughts of um, what if I do this, what if this. I find that it's the yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I think transparency plays a huge role in when you're talking to clients and vice versa on their end, having
Mhm.
transparency with you of where they're actually at, not just wanting to have a conversation about where things are at,
Yeah.
and stuff. So, um, what how do you talk to clients that are like, well, what if I don't love my house in a year, or what if something breaks, or um, what if I'm trying to find like do I need to find my forever home now?
Yeah, I view real estate much differently now at this age and stage than I did in my 20s. So,
Okay.
um, when you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in your 20s, you think that because you're excited, you think that, your home, I mean, and it really can be your forever home.
Sure.
Um, but the reality is that most people are moving, every 5 to 8 years.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind that real estate is a wealth building mechanism or vehicle to get you to the next step. So keep that in the back of your mind. There are always exceptions to the rule. And of course, you and your family may not be that. You may decide to stay there forever.
Yeah.
But you also may not. Life happens, things change, all the stuff. So I always encourage people to keep an open mind because we don't know what we don't know.
Absolutely.
You just
Absolutely.
don't. You just don't. I mean, none of my 5 year plans, 2 year plans, or 10-year plans have ever worked exactly like they were supposed to. I don't know about you. I mean, maybe someone else has got some answers, but
No.
yeah, none of mine ever have. So just be flexible, keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Um,
I think those goals are just to help propel us forward, not
yeah,
necessarily to have it completely come true because life is ebbing and flowing and
yeah.
things are always in movement. For anyone out there listening right now who feels overwhelmed, stuck, or uncertain about starting their home buying journey, what would be your single most important piece of advice beyond don't be afraid?
Call Jen.
Call Jen.
Call Jen. I mean, I would say, well, let me back up. If they're a renter,
Hmm.
if you're paying, let's say $2,000 a month in rent,
Yep.
over 5 years, you're paying for somebody else to, put into their investment property or to their apartment complex, you
Yep.
know, over um, 2 times 12, that's $24,000 a year,
Yep.
times five. I mean, you can do the math. That's more than, um, $100,000.
Yeah.
And if, otherwise you just have nothing at the end other than if you're lucky, your security deposit
Yeah.
after 5 years. If you're owning a home, you have equity. That's the difference in what you paid versus the home's value. So in our area, um, it is to your benefit to own. 100% is to your benefit. There's always going to be outliers, like you may be moving, all these different things, unique things. But I have seen so many times where someone said, like, we're just going to be here for like 5 years. And oh, we just don't know. We're just waiting for the rates to drop. Or, we just can't find the acreage we want. And I think a lot of times what people don't understand is that our market is appreciating faster than they can save.
Yep.
And so it just makes me hurt for them because I want to help them so bad. And
Yeah.
I would say being open minded is one of the best things that people can do. Being open minded so that they can help themselves.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
That's awesome. And I think going along with that renter side of things, if you're looking at it, doesn't hurt to run the numbers
Right.
because if you're not ready today, like we were talking about earlier, in 3, 6 months, maybe um, when you have to get out of your lease or when your lease is done, then you might be ready to buy. But it's important to start now so that you know what the plan is going forward to be able to get you to that place. Um,
Right.
and it doesn't cost you anything to do an application. Like it doesn't
Right.
cost any money up front just to get a plan together. And it's so fun for me to like look at everybody's stuff and be like, okay, so this is what we can do, and this is what we can like. This is how much it's going to be. We have a lot of down payment assistance programs and things that we can look at if you don't have that money set aside at the beginning. Um, there's so many things we can do to get you to a place where you need to be, but we can't do that unless you're able and willing to let us help you. So
Right.
yeah, no, that's really good. And I think helping you with that confidence to know where you need to be too, because if you're stuck in the uncertainty, then there's not going to be the confidence piece there. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Off the top of your head, is there anything else that you want buyers to know before we wrap up?
I would say the other thing is that I'm not sure that a lot of buyers understand that um, most of the time, buyer representation is still being covered by the sellers. Um, it is always, buyer representation is always negotiable, and we can have that conversation. Um, but I think that's really important for buyers to know. A lot of times, it's super scary for buyers to think about buying because they're overwhelmed. They don't understand the process, and that's what a buyer consultation is for.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do have buyers come to me that have had a conversation with you, with another lender first, and sometimes I meet with someone first and then refer them to you.
Hmm.
So a lot of times people don't know if they should go to a lender first or a realtor first. Either way is fine. Um, you know, half 50% of the people that I meet with have gone first. Either one is fine. We work together. Like it's 100% a team effort. And just knowing
Yep.
that, most of the time a buyer is not paying for their agent compensation is a huge relief. Um, so
Yeah,
that's huge.
absolutely. And I think you mentioned earlier, are we in a buyer's market right now in our area? I know that it
Yes.
depends on where we're at, but okay.
It depends on where you are. And obviously, I can have that conversation with them depending on where they want to go, what neighborhood, what
Sure.
county, what zip code. Right now, I'm going all over. I'm doing a lot of, unique things. I love to just hear, what is it you're looking for? Are you looking for land? Are we doing a build? Are we buying, the next residential thing? What are we doing? And then I'm very kind of custom with each person. I really choose the client over a specific neighborhood.
Yeah, no, I think that's also a good point to point out. I think we were talking about earlier. Um, we have to know a lot of details, at least on the realtor side. I need details too, but mine's more financial. Yours
Yeah.
is more dream focused and
Yeah.
more wanting to understand what they want out of life, and what they want their life to look like.
Yeah.
Um, and you had shared with me that you went through the process of helping your daughter pick out a certain type of nail polish and how that just like it's an interesting concept though, because you had it wasn't the right color in a couple of different times, and you brought her back and you're like, hey, let's try this, or like, let me see if we can add some sparkles, or like, let's get it to the exact perfect nail color that she was imagining in her mind.
Yeah.
And that is what you do for people, and I just think that's so cool, to see how you take somebody, and also if you realize that you guys are not the best fit for each other, you're able to refer them to somebody who might be. um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I just think that's very cool. um,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah. That was like an epiphany moment. And that's for anyone listening, that's how Ashley and I started the conversation for this podcast because Sweet Noelle was getting her nails done, and her favorite color for this moment in time is blue. And when she picked out the blue, she was like, yes, I love it. And then she asked them to layer them, like one coat this color and one coat this color. But then when they put them on her toes, she was super quiet. And Noelle is like me, she's never quiet. So I knew something was wrong. And so I asked her, I was like, hey, do you like that? And she was like, but she didn't want to say anything. And so I asked them, I was like, excuse me. I was like, I'm sorry, can we pick a different color? And I feel like that is exactly what I do for clients. And it's super important to have that advocate and that advisor because that is 100% what I'm here for. And I will tell y'all, the last deal that Ashley and I did together was 100% the smoothest deal ever.
Woohoo!
We contract to close was 21 days. Everything was smooth. The appraisal went off without a hitch, like everything. And I think that having a team like that, of someone who is an advocate, I was running everything. Ashley was running everything on her end. Real estate does not have to be that stressful when you have the right team.
Yeah.
Our clients have no idea that it's supposed to be stressful because it wasn't for them. And so we would love for it to not be stressful, for our clients, because it doesn't have to be when you have the right team.
No, it
So,
does not.
yeah,
We'll bring the answers and the clarity and the
yeah,
unwavering commitment to your unique home buying process.
definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Jen. I
Yeah,
appreciate you. And
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
yes, of course. All righty. Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Roast. We'll catch